Tonight, on First at 9 this Tuesday the 15th of April 2025. LG polls. Conducting polls for all local authorities on May 6th doubtful due to pending legal cases, says Pafferel. Adds election campaigning peaceful contrary to Pafferel projections. Excessive solar output. CEB refutes allegations of favouring thermal power or renewable power generation. Rooftop solar system owners must disconnect systems from grid when requested. Pricing strategies. Adopting cost-reflective pricing for utilities will prove beneficial for the vulnerable, shows central bank report. Sweltering. Extreme heat forecast in parts of Sri Lanka, forecasts Met Department.
Chilo Dairy, Sri Lanka Kiren Perata. ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දෙනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක.
කට්ට පරිස්සම් කරගත්තොත් අපි පරිස්සම්.
From Derana, this is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9, brought to you by the nation's most trusted news source, Derana. I'm Tharindu Mahendra, joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and from around the world. Now in your top story this evening, Executive Director of the People's Action for Free and Fair Elections, Rohana Hettiarachchi says holding the elections for all local authorities on the 6th of May remains doubtful due to pending legal matters concerning nominations. Hettiarachchi also confirmed that close to 200 incidents of election law violations have been reported so far, adding that 13 of them involved violence. However, the Pafferel Executive Director noted that contrary to their projections, election campaigning has remained peaceful so far.
මේ දක්වා කාලය තුල පැතිවරණ නීති උල්ලංඝනය කිරීම සිදුවීම් 200කට ආසන්න ප්‍රමාණයක් අපිට වාර්තා වෙලා තිබෙනවා.
Close to 200 incidents of violations of election laws have been reported so far, but only around 13 of these involve violence. An incident involving an attack on a candidate of the Samik Jana Balawege was reported yesterday, and supporters of the ruling party are accused of the attack. As per police reports, 15 candidates and 52 others have been arrested over violations of election laws so far. During the Sinhala and Tamil New Year period, no major incidents or attempts to bribe voters were reported, contrary to our predictions. We are aware that New Year festivals will be organised in the coming weeks. We request candidates to refrain from conducting campaigns that could influence the independent decision of voters. It is observed that the Election Commission is carrying out all necessary preparations for the polls. We are doubtful of holding polls for all local government institutions on the 6th of May, owing to the rejection of certain nominations due to legal action. Court rulings with regard to many cases have been issued. However, political parties and independent candidates can take legal action until the 21st of April. Accordingly, a series of election-related cases are yet to be taken up for consideration. Last-minute court cases could be an obstacle to holding elections. The Election Commission will need time to reprint ballot papers if the candidate list of a particular local authority is updated. In such a situation, polls might be delayed in certain divisions. This will be decided by court rulings regarding nominations. District, provincial and polling centre-wise, our teams of volunteers are geared up to engage in inspections targeting the day of the polls. We will be deploying 3,000 to 4,000 officials and 200 mobile inspection vehicles.
ජංගම නිරීක්ෂණ රථ 200ක් මේ වරත් චන්දමතසාන අතරතුර තත්ත්වයන් නිරීක්ෂණය කිරීම සඳහා යොදවන්නට අපි සැලසුම් කරලා තිබෙනවා.
පිරිපුන් ජීවිතයකට ඔබ සමගින් පෙරට Union Assurance.
චන්දුරුසුමේ කාගෙන් වන අපේ සිංහ TV සඳහා සුපිරි ඩීල්.
The Ceylon Electricity Board says that owners of rooftop solar systems must disconnect their systems from the national grid voluntarily until 3 p.m. on a daily basis if they receive an SMS from the board. The Electricity Board reiterated that this is solely to alleviate the possibility of grid instability that may arise due to excessive solar output. Meanwhile, the state power supplier refuted allegations of curtailing solar power generation in favour of thermal power generation methods. In a statement today, the Electricity Board clarified that on Friday, the 11th of April, all 3 coal power plants had been backed off to their minimum power levels to accommodate solar generation from about 100,000 small solar units, and 1 coal unit had been completely shut down at 9:57 pm. On Saturday, the 12th, the Kalanitissa power plant using naphtha had been fully shut down by 9:16 am to accommodate the production from solar units, and no oil-fired power plant had operated the rest of the daytime, while only 2 coal units had operated at minimum power. Meanwhile, on Sunday the 13th, when the CEB requested rooftop solar unit owners to temporarily shut down their systems, only 2 coal units at minimum production had operated during daytime, and no oil-fired power plants had been used. The Electricity Board reiterated that throughout this period, only 2 coal units operating at minimum power in the daytime to enable solar power to be absorbed, but operating at almost full power overnight to serve the customer demand had been active. Oil-fired generation had only been used briefly during night peaks when the other renewables such as wind, biomass and hydropower alone could not meet the demand. The CEB also reiterated its request for all owners of rooftop solar power generation units upon receiving an SMS to shut down their units until 3 pm to mitigate the risk of grid instability. Leader of the opposition, Sajith Premadasa, affirms that the president must create an environment where the public can live and thrive rather than threatening to withhold funds from local authorities if the ruling party, the National People Power, does not win during the local government elections. Speaking at a public rally, Premadasa questioned why the NPP has failed to address public concerns despite possessing such a substantial mandate.
A public rally of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya in view of the upcoming local government elections was held in Negombo recently under the patronage of party leader of the opposition Sajith Premadasa.
We would like to ask this government why they haven't addressed the concerns of the public despite possessing such a substantial mandate. Prices of essential goods have skyrocketed. People have lost their sources of income. How can the general public survive in such an economy? Recently, I heard the president saying that no funds would be allocated to local government institutions which the NPP does not win in the upcoming election. A president should not make such statements. He should be implementing measures to alleviate poverty in the country or at least reduce the prices of goods. He should create an environment where the people can live and thrive. However, the country will never develop in this manner.
With that, here's a look at more of the latest political developments ahead of the local government elections.
Government claims they developed the country and provided fuel and fertilizer. How can you make up such lies? The 47% of individuals in the nationalist camp who voted for NPP with the expectation of them developing this country are abandoning them day by day. The 47% voters in our camp who supported the government will not stay with them due to their lies.
We cannot change everything within 4 months. We received the mandate for 5 years. It hasn't even been a year. We can't perform miracles. We would not have a problem if the country that was given to us was already developed. Now we are directing the country towards the right path while developing it step by step and providing relief to the public. It is your responsibility to vote for the NPP that is directing the country towards the right path in the upcoming election.
If they are repeating the same lie, the public will take a decision in the upcoming local government elections to convey the government that they will not be deceived or agree with daily slandering by reducing the public mandate from 6.8 million to 3.4 million.
Those individuals will be quiet after the local government election. We will continue our journey. We talked about a political, social and an economic transformation. We made a political transformation within a month and now we have to perform an economic transformation. It cannot be done easily since the country's economy had hit rock bottom. I believe that we will be able to perform a transformation that the people will be able to feel.
The responsibility of the state in a democratic society is to fund local government institutions and protect the public regardless of which party secures a majority in the said local authorities.
Fast track your career from O-levels with eSoft.
Diabetesol සීනිවලින් පරිස්සම් වන ඔබට අමතක නොවන පෝෂණය.
කැලණි වයර් කිසි ගින්නක් නැහැ.
කිසි ගින්නක් නැහැ. කැලණි Fire Shield Wire.
Now, former President Ranil Wickremesinghe's request to confer with former State Minister Sivanesathuraj Chandrakanthan alias Pillayan, who is currently under custody, has been denied by the Criminal Investigation Department. However, former parliamentarian Udega Mampila, in his capacity as Chandrakanthan's legal counsel, has met and conferred with him on the 13th of April. On the 8th of April, former State Minister and Eastern Province Chief Minister Sivanesathuraj Chandrakanthan alias Pillayan was arrested by the Criminal Investigation Department over his alleged connection to the disappearance of the Vice-Chancellor of the Eastern University, Professor Sivasubramaniam Ravindranath, in 2006. Subsequently, the CID obtained a 90-day detention order against the former State Minister for further interrogation. Minister of Public Security Ananda Vijayapala informed Parliament on the 10th of April that information had been revealed regarding former State Minister Chandrakanthan's involvement in the Easter Sunday attacks.
පහුගිය දවසක පිල්ලා හිටපු රාජ්‍ය ඇමතිවරයා CID විසින් අත්අඩංගුවට ලැබුවා. පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරය සම්බන්ධයෙන් කරුණු රාශියක් අනාවරණය වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඔහු ඊට සම්බන්ධ බවට ඉතින් ඒ පිළිබඳව විමර්ශන කරනවා.
Against this backdrop, former President Ranil Wickremesinghe had requested to confer with former State Minister Chandrakanthan. It is reported that the former President's request had been conveyed to the CID via one of his security officers. However, Public Security Minister Ananda Vijayapala confirmed that the request had been denied on the grounds that it is illegal to have telephone conversations with a suspect being held in custody. However, former parliamentarian Udega Mampila was granted permission to meet and confer with former State Minister Sivanesathuraj Chandrakanthan on the 13th of April in his capacity as Chandrakanthan's legal counsel. Public Security Minister Ananda Vijayapala stated that the 30-minute discussion took place in the presence of CID officials. Meanwhile, sources within the CID said that former State Minister Chandrakanthan is yet to reveal any information regarding the incident over which he was arrested or any other. Investigations into the former State Minister are being conducted by the CID's Special Investigation Unit. Now, despite additional transport services being deployed to accommodate the commuters returning to Colombo following the Sinhala and Tamil New Year, a lower than usual turnout of passengers was noted today. However, transport authorities confirmed that the transport services will operate tomorrow as scheduled.
With the New Year festivities gradually starting to dissipate, transportation authorities announced that the additional transport services to accommodate passengers returning to Colombo after the holidays will remain operational. Accordingly, the National Transport Commission confirmed that bus services are scheduled to operate today and tomorrow according to the regular timetable. Meanwhile, the Sri Lanka Transport Board stated that the additional buses will be deployed for the convenience of the people returning to Colombo starting today.
කෙසේ වෙතත් බස් ධාවනයේදී අපිට තියෙන එකම ගැටලුව අද දිනේදී මගී ජනතාව අඩුවෙන් තමයි ඉන්නේ. අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා 5000ක වගේ ප්‍රමාණයක් ධාවනය කරන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ දල වශයෙන් 30-35ක වගේ ප්‍රමාණයක්.
Despite the additional transportation services put in place to meet passenger demand, bus drivers continue to raise concerns over the lower than usual turnout of passengers at bus stands across the country. Meanwhile, the Department of Railways stated that as today is a regular working day, office train services will operate as usual. The department added that additional trains will be added based on passenger demand. In the meantime, the Road Development Authority revealed that revenue generated from expressway tolls during the past 4 days has exceeded 170 million rupees. This marks an increase of 20% in comparison to the income generated during the corresponding period last year.
Now, the heat index, or the temperature felt on the human body, is likely to increase up to caution level at some places across Sri Lanka tomorrow. Issuing an advisory for warm weather, the Department of Meteorology forecast that the heat index could increase to between 39 and 45 degrees Celsius in the northern, north central, northwestern, western, southern and eastern provinces and in the Ratnapura and Monoragala districts. Accordingly, the department requests the public to stay vigilant as fatigue is possible with prolonged exposure to the sun, resulting in heat cramps. In addition, the public is advised to increase the intake of liquids, limit work outdoors and give better attention to elders and vulnerable children. However, the Met Department anticipates heavy rains exceeding 75 millimeters to occur in some places in the central, Sabaragamuwa, southern and Uva provinces within the next 24 hours. Welcome back to First at 9. And now Samagi Janabalawege, Member of Parliament Dr. Harsha De Silva claims that the Damulla Agricultural Cold Storage Complex, equipped with facilities to control temperature and humidity, which was inaugurated during the recent state visit of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, is not operational. During an inspection today, he stated that the current government has deceived the people by claiming that the storage complex in question has been inaugurated.
Construction of the Damulla Agricultural Storage Complex, designed with a capacity of 5,000 metric tons and equipped with temperature and humidity control, began in 2019 during the Good Governance government when Dr. Harsha De Silva served as Minister of Economic Reforms and Public Supplies. The complex was officially inaugurated virtually on the 5th, coinciding with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Sri Lanka. Today, Samagi Janabalawege MP Dr. Harsha De Silva visited the warehouse to assess its current status. He streamed a live video on his Facebook page to highlight the condition of the facility.
උෂ්ණත්ව පාලිත කෘෂිකර්ම ගබඩාව මේක වැරදි උෂ්ණත්ව විතරක් නෙමෙයි උෂ්ණත්ව සහ තෙතමනය පාලිත අයියෝ පොඩ්ඩක් බලන්න මොකද කරලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා මොකක්වත් කරලා නැහැ අපි නවත්තපු තැන තමයි තියෙන්නේ අංකල් මොකද තාත්තේ හරි මේ තමයි මේ cold rooms ටික මේ මේකක් හරිම කන්තරවා මොකක් හරි එකක් මේ ලොකු දොරවල් මේවා තමයි අපි හයි කරේ මේ these are very important these doors දැන් මේක පටන් අරන් නෑ තාමත් විවෘත කරන්න තියා මේකට තව ගොඩක් වැඩ තියෙනවා කරන්න මේ අක්කර හයක් තිබිච්ච එක වැටක් ගහලා බ්ලොක් කරලා එක එක කට්ටිය බෙදාගෙන තියෙනවා ඒක කම්ප්ලීට්ලි නෝ මේවා තිබුණේ ප්‍රොසෙසින් වලට මේ විජලනය කරන්න එක පැත්තකින් අනිත් පැත්තේ ජූස් හදන්න කෝඩියල් හදන්න එහෙම නැත්නම් සෝස් හදන්න හරි එතකොට ඒවා කොහොමද කවුරු බෙදාගත්තේ මම විශ්වාස කරනවා ආණ්ඩුව මේක හොයයි කියලා මොකද මම මේ කම්ප්ලේන් එක ගේනවා දැන් හෙට අනිද්දාට බලමු ආණ්ඩුව මොකද්ද කරන්න කියලා ඕපන් කරාට මේක වහලා දාලා දැන්ට තියෙනවා
Now, Additional Secretary of the Ministry of Environment, RHMP Abekon, says that the lack of public attentiveness towards managing plastic waste and high cost of alternatives are major issues when combating wastage in the country. She made these remarks during a high-level roundtable discussion on plastic waste management in South Asia held recently in Colombo. Speaking at this same event, environmental officials of Bangladesh, India and Pakistan called for better regional cooperation to combat the growing threat of plastic wastage in the region.
We do have in all our countries policies and regulations to address plastic pollution and managing plastic waste. But at the same time, the inadequacies were also acknowledged. For example, countries have had some success stories, but also setbacks or wrong turns. Ultimately, roundtable after roundtable, that we are dealing with changing human behavior. So how do we change consumer behavior in terms of plastic use?
If we look at some of the statistics of plastic problem that are happening in South Asia, it generates over 26 million metric ton of plastic waste manually, mostly India, Bangladesh and Pakistan being the largest contributors. 11% of plastic waste in the region is recycled through formal channels, while the rest of the part is either dumped, burned or leaked into the environment. And the Ganges River alone carries an estimated 1.15 million tons of plastic into the Bay of Bengal each year, making it one of the top 10 most plastic polluted rivers globally. And research shows that 90% of marine plastic pollution originates from just 10 rivers from South Asia. And if we pollute these precious resources with plastic pollution, we need to think. Also know the microplastics are now available in our brains and in the placenta of newborn baby. So this is very alarming to act globally, regionally. Plastic pollution does not respect borders, which means our response must also be collaborative.
in a region which is so deeply integrated, where we are joined by coastlines, by rivers, by mountains. I think regionalism now is no longer an option. Regionalism is a necessity. And while the balance of power is now shifting from the global north to the global south, we are entering a phase where we see that some people, some of the global north is perhaps backing out of the challenges that we face together. But as the global south, we have had a lot of help from them, which we appreciate. But now I think that we need to take things into our own hands and we need to make policies together. Asia needs to take its future in its own hands. Even though we have been the victims of climate change, we have faced huge disasters in all our countries, but at this time we need to take our future in our own hands. Asia needs to stand together. Asia needs to move forward. Asia needs to make a resolve that we are not going to be pessimistic. I would like to also request SACP to have a more proactive role in that. I would like to suggest that perhaps at this point we could have some working group which could work on implementation processes or other key policy things. So that is something that I think we need to do as we move forward.
Awareness of the people, their attitude is not related to the management of the plastic. Then we try to introduce alternatives, but problem is that some alternatives are high cost and those things. We need to think about that also. Illegal imports also, there are some plastics and low quality plastic produced in home-based level. Those are main problem for resolve the plastic waste management at the moment.
We would be most willing to share our initiatives which we have taken, because the forum we are here together as South Asia. We are all esteemed neighbors. We are open for bilateral cooperation as well as multilateral. And I would request that SACP Secretariat, if they want to play a nodal role or a focal role in this, India would be most willing to cooperate on those lines.
Now, the central bank in its economic review emphasized that the continued implementation of cost-reflective pricing mechanisms for government-provided utilities is essential moving forward. Highlighting the historical losses incurred by state-owned business enterprises prior to the adoption of cost-reflective pricing formulas, the CBSL noted that deviating from such mechanisms is not beneficial to the government, businesses or the public in the long term. Instead of offering broad-based relief through the mispricing of utilities, the CBSL recommends that any additional support be directed towards vulnerable segments of the economy through well-targeted benefit schemes. The financial regulator also urges the government to implement measures aimed at enhancing operational efficiency and fostering competition while reducing production costs to ultimately pass on the benefits to consumers. Now, the Colombo Stock Exchange officially opened its Bandaravela branch to the public, establishing its presence in all 9 provinces of Sri Lanka. The branch was inaugurated by Chairman of the Colombo Stock Exchange, Dilshan Veerasekara, and Chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Senior Professor Harindra Disabandara. Similar to the CSE's other branches, the Bandaravela branch will facilitate a range of services, including CDS account opening, access to stockbroker firms, personalized guidance for navigating the stock market, and also clarifying investment-related queries. Speaking at the opening ceremony, CSE Chairman Dilshan Veerasekara called on the people of the Uva province to engage with the stock exchange and explore opportunities it has to offer in expansion and long-term growth. Now taking you to New Year festivities, the Derana Mugunapura Surya Mangalya, organised by the Derana Media Network in partnership with Dialogue to celebrate the Sinhala and Tamil New Year, was held today in Mahiyanganaya. Meanwhile, as New Year celebrations were held across the island, the Sri Lankan community residing in Southern California also celebrated the New Year in partnership with the Derana Media Network.
Derana Gunapura Surya Mangalaya, organised by the Derana Media Network in partnership with Dialogue in view of the Sinhala and Tamil New Year, commenced at 9:30 am this morning at the Mahiyangane Public Stadium. The event was held under the patronage of Vadda Chief Uruwarige Wanilatho, NPP parliamentarian of the Badulla district Sudal Balagalla, Badulla district secretary PSP Abewadana and deputy chairman of the Derana Media Network Laksiri Wickremage.
Uruwarige Vanilatho, the Vadda chief, mentioned the word beautiful. Derana stands for beautiful productions that can be viewed together as a family. We have no programs that violate this premise. This is why Derana is beautiful. Derana came to beautiful Mahiyangane and commenced a beautiful event.
The event commenced with men's and women's marathons, followed by a cycle race and many folk games that incorporated new technology. In the meantime, the Sri Lanka America Association of Southern California organised a Sinhala and Tamil New Year celebration for the Sri Lankan community residing in Los Angeles in partnership with the Derana Media Network.
Now, in international developments, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin is set to move the state autonomy resolution in the Legislative Assembly today. The resolution aims to urge the Indian central government to ensure that the state gets more power. On the 4th of April, Chief Minister Stalin informed the Legislative Assembly that the resolution seeking exemption from the national eligibility cum entrance test for admission to medical schools had been declined by the President. The Chief Minister criticised the decision to deny the resolution as a dark chapter in federalism, with several others criticising the central government's policies. Additionally, the Tamil Nadu Assembly has passed a resolution urging the retrieval of Katchatu Island from Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, on April 8th, India's Supreme Court termed Tamil Nadu Governor R.N. Ravi's withholding assent to 10 bills after they were reenacted by the state legislature illegal and erroneous in law. The court said the governor must act in aid and advise the state legislator. Chief Minister Stalin termed the judgment a victory to all states in India. And that's all for tonight from First at 9. Thank you for joining. Have a great night.